Hi, I'm Rachel Chamness. Welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about inner child healing. This weekend I'm going to be doing an inner child group healing for donation, and you can find that with the link below or on my website, soundwavesheal.com. But right now I just want to talk about inner child healing in general. What is it? So if you've been told that you have some inner child work to do and you're just not exactly sure what that means, well, I can tell you a little bit about my experience and about how I worked on my inner child through shadow work, through meditation, and other means, through sessions with other light workers, and just through working it out in my thoughts to come to a better place. So for me, my inner child healing had a lot to do with my childhood. Inner child healing is about healing wounds that you received in childhood. So as a child, it's very easy to be wounded in many ways that may not even show up until later, or you may not even realize it until later. You could have a perfectly fine childhood with very little trauma, although I'm not really sure that's possible being a Gen Xer, but maybe so, and still have inner child wounds. And you could also have had a very difficult childhood, and in which case you might have many. So for me, I had many child wounds. Inner child healing was really important for me, and it made a big difference in my life. One of the things that I worked a lot on and still work on is self-image, worthiness, shame. I was taught either unconsciously or through modeling, meaning that I learned from other people in my life who raised me, that it was very important, the way that you showed yourself to the world. In other words, the way that you looked, to look a certain way, to be a certain body size, to have a certain body size in many ways, that is something that brought a woman great worth. And I was actually raised by wonderful people who just had their own problems from their own upbringing that were directed out to the world that I picked up as well. So it's not saying horrible things about my parents or anything like that, but these things happen. And I was just taught that, a woman had worth in how she looks, in having a beautiful, perfect body with certain attributes, and that this is the way to be worthy. And it's surprising because my parents were very much for women and women equality, and telling me I could do any job that I wanted to, even though, of course, I wanted to be a singer. So they would always say, well, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a lawyer, if anything that you want to do, you can do. But I still picked up this whole, yes, but you have to do it by being beautiful. And that's what really brought a lot of worth to your soul. And of course, we know that's not true, and that there is so much beauty in the world by people being different, and not everyone should look the same. That is, not worthy in itself. But many people are beautiful just by being different. There's all kinds of beauty, and beauty is not defined by one idea. And was so much shame about not being the ideal or not being good enough. There was a lot of that. So how has it helped me to heal that for the wounded child, what I would call little wounded Rachel? Well, I do have a much higher sense of self-worth. I mean, much higher. I wouldn't say it's perfect. Maybe something that I work on still. Um, I believe and see beauty all through the world. I do not adhere to one idea of beauty, and I don't adhere to one size of beauty. Women can be beautiful in any way, and men too. And that there is so much beauty in the unusual as well. So I think that that's one thing that it has helped me with. Another thing is that I definitely was raised with a sort of feeling of competition with women. I'm not sure if it came from just all of that I just described just now, or where it came from exactly, but in healing that, I feel that I don't really go to that place anymore where if I hear someone has a success or they do a great thing, that I don't feel like, oh, well, I don't do that, or I need to do that, or I need mine needs to be better than that. I kind of had that, and I don't anymore. I'm genuinely happy for people who do wonderful things and who do things better than me. Good for them. I aspire to do so well. They're an inspiration to me. I genuinely feel happy for people when they achieve something, when they do something great for themselves. It used to make me feel unworthy. Like if someone achieved something wonderful, then it just highlighted that I wasn't good enough. And so if you ever feel these things, these are definitely inner child wounds. Another thing I really struggled with was never being satisfied. I really felt that nothing was ever good enough. It was really hard for me to just succeed in anything because every success was just a small thing compared to what I really wanted. And it was also maybe hard to give me a gift because, maybe it wasn't exactly the thing that I really wanted. And so it just wasn't that good. Or, I had a lot of this. And that feeling of never being satisfied was really hard for me as an opera singer because nothing was good enough. And although I may have had more success than many of my friends, it still wasn't as much success as I saw with other people that I felt that I should have. And this is actually something that led me to where I am today because it forced me to really work on myself. It was sort of a blessing and a curse because since I never felt satisfied, I was always looking for the way to fix my problems, to fix the energetic blocks that I had. So it really led me to spiritualism. And I worked on myself with spiritual classes for 20 years and really learned a lot that I put into practice later when I came into this business. But that feeling of never being satisfied was something I lived with daily forever. And only once I started really working on this business as a spiritual helper and healer and medium did I learn how to be satisfied with myself. And I learned how to be satisfied with the beautiful day or just little parts of life, and that's been a big difference for me. I had a lot of other wounds too from sexual abuse that really tied into the whole self-image, worthiness, and shame that I talked about before, and tied into the whole feeling that I had to look and be a certain way to be worthy. That was, of course, something that I worked on a long time to heal, and I do believe that I'm truly healed from that. So, inner child healing can be a process. It can be something that you may heal certain parts and then have more to heal and more to heal. Or it could be that you're almost there and it could show itself in many ways. So, your inner child healing may be different than my journey with it. But I can tell you that being on the other side of it is really very life changing. It's life changing. It's a feeling of more joy in my life. So I really recommend inner child healing. Where do you start? You need to start with understanding or recognizing what it is that caused the wounds and doing some shadow work. As you know, I help people with shadow work both in sessions and on my blog. So I'll put below the shadow work blog post. This blog post will help you with 8 different ways that you can work on your own to help you get through the shadow work. So what I talk about shadow work, I'd like to say that it's something that we'll always have to do. We'll always have some shadow work to do, but that doesn't mean that the shadow work needs to take over your life in a way that makes you miserable. So there's ways to work on your shadow work and also put it aside for the moment and come back to it. And with the shadow work blog post that I wrote, one of the things that I talk about is how to come into the present moment, how to accept your feelings. Accepting your feelings is really important. And I think that's the most important part of the shadow work blog post that I wrote is that if you can just come to the acceptance of your feelings, such as right now I'm feeling really anxious about tomorrow, and that's okay. I just accept it. I feel anxious about tomorrow. That's a good example because you may just feel that anxiety then release, or whatever it is that you are worried about, you can feel the release of it because you have come into acceptance and into the present moment, which is very, very powerful. So this weekend, February 6th, I will be doing an inner child group healing by donations. I will be setting up a crystal grid just like I do in my regular sessions, only for the whole group. I will use Reiki to activate this as a distance healing, and it will work for all the names that I have gathered from those who have donated already. Plus, I will add an energetic exchange for the future. So if you're watching this and it's past February 6th, 2022, that's okay. You can still buy it. And with Reiki and activation, all you have to do is watch the video that I will make, and you will also receive the healing. Will this healing completely heal your inner child? Well, I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe it'll put you way farther on the path, which I believe it will. And maybe it is just the push you need to get you over the hump. So I will do a clearing for everyone, just like in my normal sessions. I always start with a clearing, clearing your auric field, clearing your chakras, giving you a full body clearing and upgrading to higher frequency dimensions, and all the help that I like to give in the sessions. And I'll record it all so you can hear it and all the messages that the group will get from highlight beings that I channel. And then I will work on the inner child, and I'll bring forth whatever messages I'm getting. There may be advice, short visualizations, there might be all kinds of help that you can bring forward into your everyday life. When I work with spirit, often it is a mixture of healing and advice and homework. I'm jokingly saying homework, but a little something for you to carry into your life that can help you in an ongoing way. So I'd love to help you with this inner child healing. So please check out the link for the donation-based healing. I'd love for you to read my short blog post on inner child healing, which is different than this video. So check that out below. I'd love to see you in the future. So let me know about your inner child healing. Let me know if you have any comments. Please also like and subscribe my channel. I would really appreciate that. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.